Good morning and welcome to the EDX Wireless presentation webinar of introducing our new training services. My name is Latoya Smith. I am the Director of Support and Training with EDX Wireless. Thank you for taking time to join us today. Before we get started, I wanted to make sure that everyone can hear me. If you can, please be sure to add into the chat box that you're able to hear. Wonderful. Another thing is all participants will be muted during today's webinar. However, we will be fielding questions. As we go through today's webinar, please feel free to use the chat box to submit your question. I do have Chandler Holmes and Brian Cochran joining me today, and if they will collect those questions, I'll be opening up for questions and answers at the end of the webinar and be able to address many of those. In the case that we cannot, what we'll be doing is following up with you via email and determine if you'd rather have a phone call with me, or if you'd like an email communication, we can go from there. We have a few more members join. Thank you. Just a reminder that today, the webinar, all mics are muted for participants. If you have questions, please feel free to submit them via the chat box, and we will be able to address those at the later portion of today's webinar. At EDX Wireless, we've learned that effective customer support cannot be approached with a one-size-fits-all method. Just like your companies, every person working has a unique point of view, their approach, their style. And just like mothers told us when we were kids, we're all truly one of a kind, and thus we all have our own unique learning styles. Some people are incredibly logical, linear thinking, who can rapidly understand a product by reading a detailed manual. Others are visual learners and comprehend information faster when they watch a video of a product and can visualize exactly how it works. Others are tactile learners, and just reading or seeing just isn't enough. Tactile learners need to get their hands on something before they can truly understand what it does and how it appears. So layer upon layer, these styles make up the demographic differences. You may see a predominant learning style in like millennials. They're super sharp, super fast, they're digital natives, they have a tremendous capacity for bite-sized morsels of information and get easily distracted and bored if the point is not reached quickly. The point is, whichever way a person best learns a new skill or digests a piece of information, his or her style of learning is almost guaranteed to be different from the next person. So EDX is working towards the goal of providing customers with a training framework that provides a more consistent means of addressing all of your individual learning and work needs. If you've ever gone into a training class, returned to the office, and you had a colleague who took the same class but had a completely different learning experience, then you can understand that different training can have the same approach. You may have even encountered training with EDX Wireless where your experience seemed to be very different than those who participated in a training with you. In working to ensure that we have consistency, the new training offerings from EDX Wireless will be with that in mind, to make sure that we establish a basic level of understanding for all customers, regardless of which specific subcategory you find yourselves in when it comes to RF planning. As we discussed earlier, people prefer to learn in different ways. A formal class can often, one part of it is, it's part of a bigger puzzle, which can also include coaching, mentoring, practice, collaborative learning, online experience, and many more. But formal training often is the kickstart of the learning process. So if different people in the same organization are not hearing the same message, they may start to get behind and others will get ahead, but you start to encounter challenges because of the mismatch in the level of foundational understanding. Having a common way of understanding processes and definitions and how they work together is critical for the individual success as well as your organization or your team. We want to make sure that we provide you with what we call the learning ecosystem. You may have heard me refer to it a time or two before if we've had a one-on-one conversation, but the learning ecosystem is really a sum of all of the things that you may or may not realize you've already encountered. The learning ecosystem is designed to support you in gaining the knowledge and skills needed to use our software and deliver those accurate and consistent results that you're looking for. It's an important idea. Understanding it helps organizations and their leaders think strategically about their learning and training and helps them achieve the goals they set for themselves. So to wrap our brains around this idea with as little jargon as possible, ask yourself, what is a learning ecosystem exactly? So a learning ecosystem is a system of people, i.e. the support department, content, technology, and a strategy existing both within and outside of an organization, all of which impacts both formal and informal learning for an organization. So just as you think about an ecosystem as far as the environment, all of those parts contribute to the whole. And we want to be able to provide you with multiple layers and multiple means of learning and acquiring knowledge so that you can meet your performance goals as it relates to the RFP or the deliverable or the study that you're working on. So our goal is to leverage each of these circles you see on the screen so that these are all different training avenues, and they will provide you with total support, or if you want to think about it as a 360-degree learning solution by means of self-help, individual development, and assisted learning. So let's review the new EDX training offerings. The first session here is performance support. That is in the form of what you've already encountered, the EDX customer support portal. Our support portal is a platform designed to give you access to the services and information you need. It's usually private and secure, requiring a login. But we also have downloadable files and videos that we'll be making available to you to access all of the different support mechanisms that we are providing to you. Essentially, the portal is a digital sharing mechanism and the information center between us and you, the customer. So as we make way for future improvements, the customer support portal becomes increasingly important. Many customers today expect a certain amount of self-service capability and are increasingly tech savvy and capable of conducting information searches on their own. As the expectation of customer service is in general very high, we want to ensure we eliminate any barriers to getting answers to problems and providing solutions. So as EDX is a small company, the customer support portal allows improved visibility for each of your requests and allows us to efficiently forward the most daunting items to the right teams within the company. But as I've noted in the previous webinar in January, this is relatively new. It's still evolving. So as we progress, I will continue to use your feedback and address the areas that need improvement. So please continue to email me, even if you have no other way but to submit a support ticket saying, hey, this isn't working, and address it to me. We will be working on those items. My team will tell you I'm a fan of tweaking it to death to make sure that we are addressing the items that we are capable of addressing and providing you with a better user experience. One way we're going to be doing this is the sign-in feature. There's a lot of knowledge, shared knowledge going into the customer support portal. And we want to be able to add more information, make it easy for you to navigate and access. And one of the ways of doing that is the new sign-in feature for the portal. This is not currently turned on, but in July, beginning in July, we will be asking users to sign into our platform in order to submit a request. And this will ensure that your requests are actually grouped together and for evolving our customer database and allow us to save your entire service history in our system. In addition, once you've actually signed in and have a user profile, we can go ahead and create an organizational profile for you so that any other members of your company that are using the portal, those tickets will be grouped together. So you can share status updates, maybe let another team member know that you've already submitted this request or you've requested training. You'll be able to communicate with one another more readily rather than sharing the link or copying and pasting a message from a ticket into an email to share with a counterpart. That should really help to streamline the process, not to mention we have updated our request forms, so you have far fewer fields to enter when you're submitting a request these days. Becoming or creating a profile will help to ensure we stream that process even further. We won't have to ask you each time for your serial number or your company name or phone number because it'll be cached into our system. Along the lines of the portal, we have the aspect in the learning ecosystem of shared knowledge. And that comes in the form of what we call our how-to articles and videos. The articles are a reference for you. They should be quick and easy to access the information you need to get the job done. Nearly every product, whether it's EDX Wireless or otherwise, requires some kind of documentation to help customers understand how to use it. Depending on the product, sometimes those user guides or product manuals can be hundreds of pages long, full of long blocks of text. In other words, they can be pretty cumbersome, pretty daunting, especially for our new users. And obviously, you need documentation that covers everything your product can do. But sometimes, you just want to know something without having to wade through a ton of content to find it. Our how-to articles and videos are a great way to provide you, the user, with a wealth of quickly accessible information in an easy to digest, engaging way. And you can access these aids via the customer support article or the portal. Once you have submitted a ticket, if it turns out that you have an item that can be addressed in an article, we can share that video or that article with you via the ticketing system. And it becomes a more versatile tool for those new users who are waiting for training, the scheduled training, to start to understand different functionalities within the tool without waiting for an actual scheduled training session. Next, we get into reinforcement. This is brand new for you, the customer. When we speak about reinforcing learning, this is where we begin to discuss computer-based training. Our team is working to develop computer-based training online via our learning management system. If anyone has dealt with brick and mortar in the classroom training versus online, I think they will agree that it can be argued that customer-based training is more effective because it provides a greater variety of instructional methods that can be tailored to any individual's learning preferences and needs. Other benefits are greater learner ease, control, flexibility, and immediate feedback. When you ask a question or answer a question in a computer-based training module, you'll get the feedback immediately rather than waiting for the end of a segment or waiting for the end of the break in order to speak to the instructor. But it can also be argued that computer-based training modules are more cost-effective method. Face-to-face training methods can be costly. The cost of travel, the lodging, meals, in addition to the training itself, can create a huge barrier for many organizations, especially smaller ones where the training budget is smaller. The big focus with the computer-based training is providing it more readily to the customer at a self-paced option, as well as making it available in your time, in chunks or all at once, according to how you would like to engage with the content. The other benefits of CBT, we call them, is they don't get tired. They don't need lunch breaks. They don't have other meetings to attend. And once the system is up and running, it can handle a large number of students than you would be able to in our previous training environment, where we had subject matter experts going to the site of the customer, in order to deliver training or bringing customers to Eugene, Oregon for facilitated learning. Computers deliver only the training that they are programmed to deliver, and in the manner that it has been designed to be delivered in, so which reduces the chance of any, again, inconsistency or gaps in the content as we move forward. So I am hoping that after today's webinar, we begin to engage with you in learning more about what your computer-based training needs might be. And because we are driving towards meeting your needs rather than, figuring it out on our own, I will be opening it up to have meetings and discuss your training needs and conduct what we call a training needs assessment, where we're developing training that addresses the many rather than individual needs. And we bring all of the individual needs into the training outline of these new courses. That means that you'll have easier access to them, the cost will be significantly less, and any new hires that come into your organization following that training will have the same level of access. The next item is a little different. Pull training is learner-driven, bottom-up approach. It enables people to access the information they need when and where it is needed. Today, COVID-19 is kind of pushing us in the direction of pull training. As a 20-year learning professional, mother of 4 boys who were all homeschooled well before COVID-19 hit, I can tell you that in our book on Beyond Our approach of training is beyond boring for a student. And for a working adult, I have and I will continue to say that it is cruel and unusual punishment to listen to an instructor for an 8, 16, or even 40-hour course. Beginning next month, EDX will be rolling out our new schedule for virtual instructor-led training, or we call it VILT, which refers to training that is delivered in a virtual or simulated environment. Virtual instructor-led training can be conducted synchronously, where you are in a session with an instructor and the other classmates all in the same session, or it can be asynchronous, where we introduce learner interactions at different intervals to give you the feel of a synchronous experience. VILT is literally the fastest growing method for internet-based learning delivery. Steady increases in bandwidth and collaboration software technologies like Zoom promotes virtual instructor-led training, and it provides a practical and inviting solution for reaching a widely dispersed audience effectively and cost effectively. Like today's webinar, EDX will be hosting all of these interactions, these learning offerings through Zoom, which means you'll have easy access and it'll be consistent. Everyone who's signed in will have the same experience. And as COVID-19 continues to linger, virtual instructor-led training is transforming the way millions of people learn, both on and off the job. Increasingly, businesses are employing it as a part of a broader blended solutions for training and development. And if that is a need or a goal of your organization, please share that with us and help us to provide you with the tools to get that program up and running. Currently, EDX is scheduled to host our first 2-day virtual instructor-led training for our new EDX Foundations course, which replaces our previous 2-day on-site workshop. We are also looking to increase the number of courses offered. Rather than waiting for a quarterly offering, the training opportunities would be monthly rather than quarterly. And this means that any new hires or anyone who's new to the tool will not have to wait for months at a time to get that basic level of understanding. So please be sure to visit our website or the portal to learn more about this new offering. Right now, the Foundations course is scheduled for July 15th and 16th. There are openings, space is limited. And when we say limited, we mean the number of students that could successfully receive training in a live training environment. I am a product of the public school system, and I know how incredibly difficult it is to address the needs of 25 learners at a time in a synchronous learning environment. So we will be looking to keep the classes on the smaller side. Otherwise, we have to limit the level of interaction with the students because there are so many. We are also looking to provide asynchronous virtual instructor-led training afterwards so that those who are unable to attend at that date we can relay the same experience and learning opportunity for them as well. The last part of this system is what we call the push training. And push training is siloed. It's the top-down management-driven approach that typically sends people to the formal training, sends them to the classroom, the conference, so that they can gain the learning. What EDX is doing to address this push learning category is our custom training offering. Now, some of you have already participated in our custom training offering where you have sat down with me and the team to go through a training needs assessment. We go through your needs, your business needs, performance goals to establish what is it do you need to be able to do at the end of training, and how does this impact your company goal so that we can help you achieve that. That process for tailored learning is far more involved. It requires a longer turnaround time, for which is the reason we're asking that we receive 2 to 3 months of advance notice when a training need is there. And this is specifically for custom learning. This is not for the pull learning where we will be hosting that on a scheduled basis. The major goal of training is to change the learner's behavior that matter most to the business. Tailored learning ensures that it's not just off-the-shelf learning that you're receiving. There are specific areas of your process or your performance that this training will help to address. As we move forward and really streamline that process, we will be spending more time with the customers and ensuring that we have all of the details, conducting interviews with potential learners to ensure that we conduct both task analysis and gap analysis so that we address all of the obstacles that are currently being encountered or preventing you from meeting your performance goals. So, what do I do when I don't have time for training and there's not a support article or video available to help me through this process? EDX is introducing the concept of consulting. Our consultant program will be launched in Q4. This is a representation of what you can expect of the consultants once they come to work with you. They will be onboarded, in which we will be conducting an assessment, identifying their capabilities and expertise. We will have an evaluation period. Then we work on building professional within that group. We will be working on establishing business practices. As parts of the RF planning community, I'm sure that you have experienced the change or the transition from focus or prioritization of these practices from company to company or even project to project. We want to make sure that we help you with reinforcing the consistency and the quality that you're looking for. We also will be going through business ethics and making sure that the consultant that works with you has your best interest in mind and is bringing to you the EDX standards and that you understand the expectations, what's expected of them when they come to work with you and to help you. We will also be providing training because in some cases, this will transition into training/coaching, where we will go over our training standards and ensure that they are certified to be instructing you in different areas of the software and processes. We want to make sure that they have the same level of product knowledge so that your questions are actually addressed. And we will be reviewing to make sure that, it's not an interpretation or translation of what that product knowledge is. Then we have our best practices as EDX best practices. We cannot establish best practices outside of our organization or outside of our tool, but we will make sure that the processes and the workflows and the understandings, we are establishing a cadence and a standard that is transferred over to the customers so that when we are working in tandem with you, we all have the same knowledge and expectations, and we spend less time trying to figure out how the other is getting the job done, and we can move forward with troubleshooting. Lastly, when the consultants are ready and they've gone through this process, they will come to you, the customer, to provide consultations, where they may join when you are engaging with support and training to do troubleshooting sessions. We have found that the live Zoom sessions that we have with customers are far more productive than, that 15 to 20 length exchange of emails or communications where we're going back and forth and trying to understand what's going on. We will have the consultants available to be on those calls and help with diagnosing the issue. Next is helping with projects. There are lots of deadlines that come up at the last minute, and it's not always within your control. And it's those times where you need an expert, not to give you training, not to go through a laundry list of questions. You want help to get those deliverables out the door. And that's where the EDX consultant can come and assist you with that. Lastly, we have training, actual honest training, where you don't want to be in a classroom and you don't necessarily want to set up a training needs assessment. You just need to walk through with a person who's well equipped with the software and have them provide training as you are going through your process, or with maybe 3 members of your team to provide Q&A and direction on what needs to be done. So these are the goals. These are what we are hoping to accomplish in Q4 with the EDX Me consulting program. And we will launch the service, and we will be sharing another webinar to get more into detail about how to request these services, what the expectations are, and move forward from there. But I definitely wanted to share that with everyone today, because it's something that has emerged during the conversations that I've had in recent months. In the last 2 months, I've had a number of chats with some of you regarding your needs and concerns, and we call them RF health checks. And these calls have been very productive, and helping us to become more proactive has helped us to shed light on a number of minor and major issues, some of which require additional help or assistance of a subject matter expert. This is the response to those needs. RF health checks are something that we have introduced for our customers who we believe could benefit the most from regularly scheduled calls with myself or a member of the team. Unscripted, let's just go over, that burning issue that you've encountered in the most recent month, and how can we address those concerns or needs that have come up. It's something that we are currently in our beta phase for, but it is something that has helped us to get ahead and be proactive of some of the concerns or issues that would deter you or would prevent you from meeting your RF deliverables or RFP responses in a timely manner. So if you are interested in that sort of interaction or that sort of service with EDX, be sure to add it into the chat so that we can go ahead and follow up with you and establish a schedule and identify what your needs might be on a monthly basis. I want to thank everyone for attending today. This is definitely the second of a number of webinars that you can expect from EDX Support and Training as we work to address your needs beyond just the portal. I want to thank my team for stepping in and making sure that I'm staying on track. If there are no other questions, I will let you go. Be sure to visit our portal, our website at edx.com, or contact us via email to let us know if there are any areas that we can assist you.